everyone, and welcome back to another action-packed episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I am your host, Brent Piles, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner from across the ocean and from the future. He is the ballroom brawling, disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy. Folks, he's more over than being Taylor Swift for guys at G.A. Wilson. Glenn, Glenn, how are you?
I get that reference. I'm good, thank you. Yes.
I wasn't sure if you'd watched Raw last night or not, but
yes, I did watch most of it. Well, I watched most of it, put it that way. I couldn't tell you what happened in the last half hour or so, but
you know what, Glenn? I'm exactly the same. I did not watch the last half hour.
I
didn't watch the first hour. I caught about from about 8 to about 9:15, and that was all I saw.
Oh, I watched the first couple of hours.
And then you fell asleep.
And then woke up. And there was some noisy music going on when somebody was playing football or something. So,
makes sense.
Just turn the laptop off.
That makes sense. But yeah, that's a CM Punk reference. If you don't know, he said he's Taylor Swift for guys. He said it on Raw last night, which got a reaction from me because I love Taylor Swift. So Glenn, anything eventful happened this last weekend?
Yes, the boys gave Wolverhampton Wanderers a little bit of a stuffing.
They really did, yeah, a little bit.
Although David Raya did actually prove what a good purchase he's been and why he got the Golden Glove last season. Because they only had like one or two chances and he pulled off one magnificent save.
Yeah, the one where his momentum was pulling him to the right and he was able to throw his hand back left and stop it. Because I thought for sure, I was like, fuck, that's going in.
And he got his hand to it.
Yeah, he luckily got his hand to it. There was, about, I would say, 10, 15 minutes of the second half that were very nerving until Saka scored that goal. Because it didn't look good for a second. But like I said, it's the first game of the year. It's going to be maybe a little flat at times. And Wolves isn't necessarily like a bad team. I know they finished like 1 or 2 short of relegation last year, but they had a lot of bad VAR decisions and a lot of injuries. So I think that they're a better team than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
And I'll take a 2-0 win on opening day every season. Thank you.
Well, let's face it, Liverpool only managed 2-0 against Ipswich, who've only just come up. So,
and Tottenham yesterday drew 1-1 with Leicester City. So,
excellent.
Yeah, so that's another thing that happened. So we have a big game this weekend. As you know, we lost to this team twice last year, once on the road and once at home. I believe this one's on the road, right?
Yeah, it is. It's away
against Aston Villa. Which I think they're going to finish top 4 or 5 again this year. I think they did last year too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They finished in the top 4.
So they're in the Champions.
They're in the Champions League, yeah. But I think we've got them at the right time.
Opening the season,
opening this, get them in, get it in early before they're really settled in.
Yeah, because I think last week they had a 2-1 victory with West Ham, I believe, was their final score. So
yes, didn't look over impressive. So.
Yeah, I didn't. There wasn't really anybody that I watched that I thought looked overly impressive. Like I watched City and Chelsea, and Chelsea looked god awful, and City didn't particularly look great either. So I think it's one of those things where it's early season. It's just gonna take a little bit for people to get to the swing of things, if you know what I mean.
That's right. Yeah.
Even Real Madrid, who has Vinicius Jr., fucking Jude Bellingham, and fucking Kylian Mbappe, only got a draw 1-1 in their first match. So anybody can be human, clearly.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's just an unfair squad. Like if me and my friends sit down to play a game of EAFC and you picked Real Madrid, I'm not fucking playing them. No, fuck you. Pick somebody else.
Yep.
No, that's unfair. It's like picking the Raiders in Tecmo Bowl. No, because Bo Jackson's unstoppable. You can't be them. Pick somebody else. But yeah, so it was a fun opening week. Only a little bit of stress, just a tiny amount.
Yeah, I got a bit nervous at one stage, but then good Abakai who popped up with that trusty left foot
Yep.
and calmed everything down.
All he needs is this much space with that left foot and going in the goal. That much space. That's all he needs. And I mean, his assist on Kai's goal too was fucking magnificent. Too. He was definitely. It was between him and Rhea for man of the match for me, but I'm going to give it to Saka.
Yeah, it's good to see Kai scoring as well, getting on the score sheet early.
Yeah, because it took him. I think it took him like 5 or 6 matches into last season before he actually got a goal. I think he was really struggling, and I think they were up 2-0, I think, in the match, and they got a penalty kick.
If you remember,
Odegaard said, no, let Kai take it. And ever since then, his confidence just started building up and up and up. I will say that he really needs to work on like his shots, because he had a wide open shot on goal, and it was one of the worst shots I've ever seen. He's good in the air, but he is not very good at kicking the ball into the net.
But if he gets that right, then we've got a really good goal scorer there.
Yeah, but like I said to you, between him and Jesus, like he's better in the air, and we got guys who can dribble. We don't need more guys who can dribble.
No, that's right.
Do you expect that we'll see any changes in the starting lineup in this week's matchup as opposed to last week's?
I don't know. He may well bring Fiore in at left back, pushing Chenko into the middle and leave Party out. I don't know.
Yeah, see, the one thing I could see them switching is maybe you putting Jorginho in and maybe sliding Declan to the 6, putting Jorginho in. Because I think when Jorginho comes in, he really opens and frees Declan up to move more up the field, because he's so good. He's so good, coming back. And so maybe that, but I really don't see it. I think you're right. I think they keep Partey in. The only one I could see is maybe you switch out Trossard for Martinelli. But I think we always talk about that every week, because I just think Trossard is he's less predictable than Martinelli. Martinelli, if he gets the ball, he's going to run right to that left. Yeah. I mean, the right end line. He does it every single time. He rarely cuts it inside. He always runs right to that line. So he's got good pace. I think he's better coming in off the bench. Which I think we talk about that all the time too.
That's right. When you got about 20 minutes to go and the defense is tiring.
Yeah.
That's where Martinelli's at his best.
I would also not be surprised if they drop Shevchenko off the starting 11 altogether and maybe slide Timber in at left back, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, I guess we'll
see. Got a plethora of decent left backs at the moment, though. So.
Well, I guess that's a good thing to have. I mean, we needed more depth with the defense anyway, because there were times last year where you could just tell everybody was gassed, and you can't expect everybody to play every single minute of every single match. No. It's not feasible.
No. With the injuries at the moment, I can't see who's going to replace Ben White when he starts getting there.
Yeah, because the time he
played a hell of a lot of games last season, and it looks like he's going to be playing a hell of a lot of games this season as well.
Him, Saliba, and Gabby are just like 3 guys where I can't see anybody taking their slot. I just can't see.
No, that's right.
Especially him, like you said, for Ben White, if they don't have Asu, if they don't have Tommy Asu, who takes his spot then? They usually play Asu along the other side.
Yeah.
I suppose you could slide Zini over there, but I really like Zini just defending doesn't do it for me.
He's not.
I see playing him, but I can't see it against Aston Villa with the way they can attack. I just can't see it.
I'd rather see him as a holding midfielder than a defending.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a good ball player. There's nothing wrong with going forward.
Yeah, not at all. It's just a little less than to be desired defending at times.
Yes.
Most of the time, anyway. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll be talking more about it unless we get horribly mangled.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we will.
I don't think we will either.
All right. Well, Glenn, let's go back to 1998. What do you say?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
January 26th, 1998, to be exact. Now, usually I can find stuff about arenas, but I couldn't find shit about the Davis Recreation Hall in Davis, California, now known as the University Credit Union Center, opened in 1977, and other than it being owned by the University of California, Davis, I can't find anything about this place other than except that it holds basketball games for their men's and women's basketball teams.
So that's all it does.
Yeah, that's all it does. I found no other WWF events taking place here. I found nothing currently going on here unless you're interested in UC Davis basketball games.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know their division they're in. I have no idea. But yeah, I only saw one notable sign in the crowd this week. It said Bischoff blows Turner.
Yes, I saw that one too. I had that note.
And we wasted no time, in my at least estimation, though, Glenn, getting right into the bad with Ken Shamrock defeating Mark Henry by disqualification.
Yeah. I'll tell you what this has done, though. I think when we get to it, that this whole feud between the Nation and the Disciples of the Apocalypse and Ahmed Johnson and Ken Shamrock is that bad that I think that we should actually watch that War of Attrition 10-man tag match with the mayor.
Yeah, I was gonna look and see how long it is, but I think you're right. It seems like it's going to be a giant clusterfuck.
It's going to be a clusterfuck. So.
I don't even know what a war of attrition is supposed to mean.
No.
Does anybody know what that is? Is that just something Vince McMahon made up?
I think it is.
It's going to be a goddamn a war. It's a war. It's a war of attrition.
A war of attrition is when one side basically lays siege to the other side. It just keeps bombarding them and stops any supplies getting in or anything. But so that's not what that is.
That doesn't explain this.
No, it doesn't explain. No, this is something that Vince has heard and thought it was a good title for a match.
Like, it doesn't matter. All wrestling fans live in a trailer park. They don't know what it means anyway.
No.
Another thing I noticed is that when Ahmed Johnson came out, when he joined Ken Shamrock on the stage before they headed to the ring, because he needed backup, of course, because Mark Henry's got the Nation, so he brought Johnson and DOA to the ring with him. I saw Ahmed Johnson add a couple more knee pads to his thighs for some reason. I guess he needed more support. He's got about 32 of them now, so that's something.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put this as quite as bad as you have. I know it's basically because we've seen it so many times before, but the crowd were into it, and that just took it slightly above the bad for me.
Oh yeah, I did note that. I said the entire match was pretty boring for me, but I will say the crowd was really into it. But of course, it ends like all these matches, and everybody ends up getting in the ring, and it's a big fun.
Yeah, we're back to the Nation of Domination DQ finishes.
We are the Nation, a disqualification nation, disqualification.
Yeah.
Power like the man and quick like the cat. I'm going to hit you with a chair so I can get the qualification real quick like that. Sorry, I'm not a good rapper. 3 minutes.
That is excellent.
Seconds. So I put this in bad, mostly because of Ahmed Johnson's added knee pads. The match was, like I said, it was boring, but the fans did really, really love this thing.
Yeah.
I guess bikers are big in Davis, California. I don't know. Never been. Never been.
My first bad, and I would very rarely say this about these sort of vignette videos from WWF.
Wow.
WWE.
This is the same thing I said.
The Kane and Undertaker package. Yep. It went on forever.
And also, they're not showing me anything that they haven't shown me in every video package regarding these two every week since Kane showed up.
That's right. Exactly. So that's my first bad.
Yeah, no, I had that listed as my second bad. Like you said, usually we always say WWE, especially, in years past, does a lot of things wrong, but usually video packages ain't one of them.
No.
And this one went on 4 minutes longer than it should have. It probably wasn't even 4 minutes long, but it felt every bit of 10 minutes long, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It certainly did.
And maybe
I'm an Undertaker guy, but I still got bored with it.
Yeah, it was just really lackluster. And I also noted by this point, we were 17 minutes into the show, and we had seen 1 3-minute match by this point. I will give you something good, Glenn, that may shock you. And I don't know. I think I had, no, I don't believe so. But I had the NWA stuff listed as my first good thing this week, Glenn. Can you believe that?
But I can. I actually can. Added Barry Windham has sort of just taken this up a little notch.
Yeah.
I know we scoffed at it last week, but it has taken it up a notch. And having them against the Legion of Doom, it couldn't go wrong, really.
Yeah, that's kind of what I put in my notes. I said I might shock everyone, but I like this NWA stuff this week. But I think it might have only because LOD was involved, because they made it like a hard hitting, interesting contest, and they actually got 5 minutes and 4 seconds. That doesn't sound like a lot, but in terms of this show, that's the second longest match on the show. So,
right.
I thought it was a good tag team match. Cornette on commentary was a bit ridiculous, but that's what Jim Cornette does. He's supposed to be ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what he does.
That's what he does. Yeah, so I thought it was a very entertaining tag team match. I thought the Barry Windham promo was a little bit less to be desired. The one that they showed when he was on the way to the ring, when he was like, "I got tired of being a clown. I got tired of having Yosemite Sam as my tag team partner."
Yeah.
And in the beginning of it, he's like, "Unless you've been living under a rock, you know my legacy with the NWA. Or you know it's 1998 and you're 14 and you don't fucking know what the fuck the NWA ever was."
That's right.
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was.
But the match was good. I enjoyed it.
It could be a good addition to that little ensemble.
However long it lasts for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they end up getting the win. Wyndham and Jeff Jarrett, his tag team partner, after they used a loaded tennis racket on Animal for the 3 count. It's been a bad couple of months for LOD, hasn't it?
It certainly has. They've been shaved. They've been beaten.
Just nothing good happening. What did you think? What's your first ugly thing of the week?
Shawn Michaels again. I'm actually already fed up. I when I first started watching sort of this era, I used to like the Generation X, but I don't know if it's because it's that sort of sophomore humor, and I'm an old fogey now.
Yeah, maybe that is it.
I just can't. I just can't get enthused about them anymore. If you see what I mean.
It's all just juvenile bullshit.
Yeah.
There's nothing about them that's credible. There's nothing about them that's menacing.
No.
Nothing at all. It's just a bunch of ridiculous bullshit.
Yeah, the most menacing thing is China.
Yeah. I really think that they've desensitized them, because it's just, you see the same things every week. They're doing the same stupid stuff. You're not doing anything for the WWF Championship, because the guy carrying the belt is basically a fucking sideshow comedy act at this point.
That's right.
And that's all they've made themselves into.
Exactly.
Yeah, so where, like the Austin Powers gimmick, where Triple H is like taking off his pants and they're holding up the belt so you can't see his penis, and all that bullshit. And then they hype this fucking Owen Hart match for 2 goddamn weeks. We'll get into that later. And that was annoying.
That's another ugly.
Yeah, that's another ugly. I think I had something else from them with the bad too. Yeah, that's what it was. And my ugly was them doing the whole Austin Powers thing. But anytime I saw them, I just thought it was just silly. And they're not doing any favors to promote the championship match at WrestleMania. For me, and then they do the same thing where like Shawn Michaels is in the back talking to Triple H, and he's like, "You know what? I'll step aside and let Austin and Tyson fight, since they got such a problem at WrestleMania. But I got to do something at WrestleMania." He's got a referee shirt on, so they're still heavily pushing that we might get Austin versus Tyson at WrestleMania, which I thought all that was stupid too. So Yeah, maybe it's because when I used to watch this, I was a teenager and it was hilarious teenage humor. But now I'm 40 and it's just not funny.
That's right. No, that's how I feel with it as well. And if you think when the first time around, I was in my 30s, but I still found it a lot more amusing than I do now.
Yeah, and I think it's a sign of the times in 1998. That was all very cutting edge sort of stuff in 1998.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. But by now, any douchebag with a microphone does shit like that. So
yeah.
So yeah, we're not massive fans of DX in 1998. No. I do think it will get better when Shawn Michaels is gone and they bring in the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac, but I guess that remains to be seen. We then had, this is what I had from Very Ugly. It was Gold Vader Dust taking on Vader.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, the artist comes dressed as Vader with a massive wedgie.
This was so bad. It was bad and ugly.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. And Vader did his best to try and kill him. God bless his soul. But
did they have a match last week? Vader wrestled somebody last week, didn't he?
No, last week he was in the Stockies and Suspenders, wasn't he? Being China.
Yeah, that's what it was.
In wherever he was.
Well, because he's Triple H later in the show too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed their Vader versus Goldust at Royal Rumble. This one, not so much.
No,
nothing like it. Very slow paced, boring, and a weird outfit. Like Luna was dressed up like Vader too, but she had like the Vader mask painted on her face.
Yeah, I know.
Had to have been rough for Goldust to wrestle with that massive wedgie. Eventually, Kane comes down to the ring with Paul Bearer.
Thank God.
Vader hit one of the sloppiest power bombs I've ever seen on Kane. And knowing what Glenn Jacobs becomes, I was kind of hoping that maybe he would be paralyzed, but he was not, unfortunately.
No, he just sat up.
Maybe that makes me a terrible person for saying that, but maybe I am a terrible person, so I don't care. And they also called that a pile driver. It looked more like a fucking like a face buster, didn't it?
It did.
Because he looked like he dropped him forward or dropping him down his head. But Kane completely no-sold it, popped back up, and then tombstone Vader himself. So why do you think he's attacking Vader? Like what? Like I don't understand. Because he wants to be the only monster, and Vader is the monster.
I just think he's working his way through the roster, and he hadn't got to Vader yet.
That could be, or I thought maybe like Paul Bearer, like because Paul used to be Vader's.
Yeah, it could be something to do with Paul Bearer
manager. So maybe they're trying.
But who's trying to make sense of this?
You're right. You're right. I gotta stop doing that. So what else? What'd you have? What else did you have that was good? My next part of the show after the Golden match, the next match I had is good.
Yeah. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was quite funny. Mick Foley and Terry Funk talking about Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Like they were different people.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. And like the sporadicness of their conversation too. Like half of it didn't make any sense.
No, that's right. But you wouldn't expect it from those two.
Yeah, they've been hitting the head so many times. Why would it make sense? Yeah, it was really fun. They're like in the ring and they're talking about how they can't wait till Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie give the New Age Outlaws what they're coming up on. He's like, Cactus Jack asked Terry Funk, he's like, which one of them do you like to watch the most? And he's like, hell, I like to watch both of them.
Yeah.
And then they make reference to how old is Chainsaw Charlie? He's like, oh, Chainsaw's not that old. He's only in his mid to late 40s.
Anyway, that leads into this non-title match of the New Age Outlaws versus Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie.
Which was also a fun match.
It was.
5 minutes and 8 seconds this one got. So another long match. I say long for Monday Night Raws in this area. But it was hard hitting. And left the door open for them definitely to have more matches down the road, which I'm interested to see these guys work a. I know they have a match at WrestleMania 14. I believe it's a dumpster match.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, this was great.
It was even from the New Age Outlaws coming down in baseball catchers equipment.
Yeah. They had the full mask and the like the thing that you put over your chest.
If you're gonna confront those two, then pad up as best you can.
Well, I'd bring a shotgun if it was going to be me. But yeah, they even had athletic cups on, which I thought was good. At one point, they try to do a low blow and it doesn't work.
No, that was good.
Yeah, that was. And then he goes for it. He takes the cup out and then hits a low blow.
Yeah.
Which I thought was good too.
And they start with the brawl, and then it descends into a conventional tag team match, which took it down a notch.
Yeah, at first I was a bit confused because I don't remember them saying it was a no DQ match, and it certainly started out like it was going to be a no DQ match.
Terry Texas change Harley Funk decides he's going to spice it up again and starts chucking chairs into the ring.
Yeah, like he was back in WECW.
Yeah, that's right.
Him in the ring.
So the boring match didn't last long before all hell broke loose again, which was good.
Yeah, this is the part where Cactus Jack takes Road Dogg's protective cup out of his pants and kicks him in the balls. And so that's when the referee calls for the bell, which Cactus Jack responds by putting the mandible claw on the referee. And then Chainsaw Charlie and the Cactus Jack just attack the New Age Outlaws after the match. They lay a bunch of chairs over the Road Dogg, and fucking 60-year-old fucking Terry Funk at this point does a moonsault off the top rope onto the chairs onto him. This was just all around good fun from the from the backstage, from them in the ring talking to each other to the match.
I love this idea that it's not Mankind, but it's Cactus Jack that keeps putting the mandible claw on referees.
Yeah, and they'd be like shades of Mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this next thing had a good and bad all wrapped up in one, because I enjoyed the light heavyweight number one contenders match between El Pantera and Brian Christopher. I, however, did not understand why the fuck we needed the Honky Tonk Man to be the goddamn special ring announcer for the light heavyweights, because that's where he belongs, light heavyweight division. God damn it. Why?
It's because they couldn't get Sunny.
She's in rehab?
I don't know, but she wasn't there, obviously, that week, so they chucked the Honky Tonk Man. Probably unconscious somewhere more than in rehab.
Yeah,
because it looked like a spur of the moment thing rather than something that was planned.
Like, why are they even bringing the Honky Tonk Man around with him? Is he an agent? I can't see the Honky Tonk Man being a good agent, considering he's an asshole and nobody likes him.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected him to maybe get involved in the match because, you know, he's Jerry Lawler's cousin, and like JR does mention on commentary a lot. So I thought maybe like something like that would happen, but like he never got involved or anything. So yeah, you've got to be right. They must have had something else lined up and it just didn't work out. It's like, well, goddamn, we get the Honky Tonk Man out there. He's got long sideburns, his hair slicked back. He's big in the 90s. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah. This match, though, as you say, it was a good match. Poor old Brian Christopher at this point, he can't actually buy a win.
No, he can't beat anybody.
He can't beat anybody. He's been beaten by Taka Michinoku so many times. And then he's fighting El Pantera, who rolls him up.
And I thought for sure that I'm like, oh, Brian Christopher's going to win this. But I'm like, they've done Taka versus Brian Christopher so many times that there's no way they're going to do it again, right?
That's right.
Which, no, they didn't. El Pantera does win after Brian Christopher misses the top rope leg drop, and then he rolls him up. Yeah. Entertaining matchup, fun, fast-paced, high-flying moves. The King goes in. King promised to congratulate the winner after the match, so he goes in there to congratulate El Pantera, but he does not.
He cheap shots him, of course.
And then he just went back and sat down like he didn't just punch somebody in the face. So I'm El Pantera. I'm coming over there when I get up, motherfucker. You know, hit that hard.
That's right.
Hell no. But yeah, that was a fun match. We actually had multiple matches that got over 4 minutes this week, Glenn. So
that's good. And there was a bit, I don't know if you got it on Peacock, where we find out what's happened to Sonny, because you can call 1-900-737-4 WWF to hear what's going on in the WWF locker room.
Yeah, there was that. And then you got any more? My last two things are good. I got one more bad thing left. What else you got?
I didn't see the point in having Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack backstage being interviewed and then DX attacking them.
No, I think that they had done enough with that.
They didn't need that extra bit just to pad it out. I don't know why.
Especially because I know what's coming up next week. It's a pretty iconic moment that people are going to remember from the New Age Outlaws. I think you know probably too. It's where they fucking pushed them off the stage of the dumpster.
Yeah,
it's coming next week. So they definitely didn't need, because like the feud between them has already been building. I mean, the reason why Chainsaw Charlie came in is because the New Age Outlaws kept beating up on Mankind and Dude Love. So Cactus Jack brought it. So yeah, it really didn't need that. It just felt like that was some sort of like filler.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It may even feel like something that they shot backstage, but it didn't make the show. But they just threw it on the Peacock episode or the network episode. You know what I mean? Because it just felt really weird.
Yes. Yeah.
They had the Headbangers versus the Quebecers, which that was kind of indifferent for me. I didn't put it on anywhere on my list.
No.
I'm glad the Headbangers won.
Yes. Yeah. It was a very funny sort of match. PCO, or whatever he was called then, wrestling in a bloody eye patch.
Well, he had always had the eye patch, hadn't he?
I know, but it just freaks me out that he wears an eye patch.
I actually know why he's got that eye patch, because he interviewed him many years ago, and a lifetime ago, when I did the show with a bunch of different people. And I guess like him and his friends were like doing slingshot. They were like making snowballs where they were like putting ice in them or something. And I guess his friend didn't know it, but like it ended up like one of the snowballs had like glass in it or something.
Oh dear!
And he threw it at him, and it hit him in the eye. And so since he's been a kid, he hasn't been able to see out of that eye. And he said that afterwards, like he didn't really feel like bad toward the kid. He didn't feel like mad towards him or anything. But he said the kid like never really was his friend anymore after that, because like maybe like he felt some sort of way about it. But he said like we were just kids playing, so like he's like I never felt like never felt like he did it on purpose or like it was bad or anything, but it was just like a weird.
But the kid felt guilty about it.
Yeah, which I would understand. I probably
no, that's understandable. All right then.
But yeah, that's our PCO story for the week.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. So this is the one thing on the show that really just pissed me off, because they've been promoting for last week and then all of this week. They told me 100,000 times that we're going to get Hunter Hearst Helmsley defending the European Championship against Owen Hart. But we didn't get that, did we, Glenn?
Sadly, we didn't. We got
Owen Hart versus the artist formerly known as Goldust.
I was going to say somebody put the artist formerly known as Goldust back in the dressing up box, and out he came as Triple H.
Yeah, apparently he comes to the arena with just a whole bunch of different outfits.
With Luna dressed as China.
Yeah,
which is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, he's got like a fake nose, and
she looked like she was more a part of a 1960s beat combo than China.
Yeah, it was very strange stuff.
It was bad. It just wasn't strange. It was bad.
And none of it made sense. It was never explained why he would pick Goldust as someone that he wanted to go down there. Maybe just because Goldust fucking, I don't know. It was all just so stupid. And And it's that thing of we all throughout 1997 we were told on commentary about how we don't do bait and switches, and this was a fucking just giant bait and switch that you've been
that was the biggest. Yeah,
all fucking night, and I don't get it.
No, that was the biggest debate in the switches.
Yeah,
and it didn't help that you think with Owen Hart, it's always said that he could have a decent match with a broom. Well, the first half of this match, Goldust proved him wrong.
Yeah, because it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't good at all. It was a snooze fest, basically.
Yeah, Goldust tries for a pedigree. Owen counters into a sharpshooter, which I thought was a fucking super lazy finish too. I thought it was
yeah.
After the match, DX shows up in the big screen. They're making fun of Owen, calling him an idiot. This brings Sarge down to the ring. We haven't seen the Sarge in a while.
No.
He gets on the mic and tells, "Man, Hunter, you're a real funny guy. You had me fooled. I thought he was really you. And since I thought he was really you, I sanctioned this match as the European Championship match. And so now Owen Hart, even though he hasn't beat the European champion, he's defeated the man dressed up as the European champion. He is now the new European champion.
The belt descends to another level.
This was 2000s WCW shit right here is what this was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not good. I mean, you haven't done much for the European title anyway, and now you've really just shat upon it by saying you can just win it from anyone. It might as well be the 24/7 championship at this point.
I suppose at least this way, giving the Sarge a little bit of credit, he's now made it the Hunter is going to have to face Owen at some point if he wants to get his belt back.
That's true. So I guess, I mean, that is one good thing.
That is the only decent thing out of this whole bloody shit show.
Yeah. I was very displeasured with that. I was very displeased with that. It was my least favorite part of the show.
That's right.
And like, I get that they're trying to promote the Austin Tyson thing, and I get it, but did I need to be shown it 45 fucking times?
No. And it's no surprise that Don King is a promoter rather than a manager.
Yeah.
Because he promotes very lucid boxers who cut good promos. He can't cut a promo to save his life.
The only thing I will say that I did like for this is he basically explained to us why we're not going to get Tyson versus Austin at WrestleMania, because Tyson has at that point had his boxing license suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Yeah, and he did want
the
to
Vander Holyfield's ear situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up, and while the boxing commission in Nevada wouldn't have been able to stop him from doing a wrestling match, they would not have been very favorably looking upon him if he had done a wrestling match when he came back to Nevada to try to get reinstated.
That's right.
And Don King's trying to make money off of him, and he's still trying to make money boxing. And if you're going to do that, you're going to need to do it in Nevada.
That's right.
So that's why they weren't going to take it. They weren't going to put Tyson's boxing career at stake for this, because WWE might pay him $500,000, $750K. They're not going to pay him the $200-300 million he was going to make off of a boxing match in 1999. You know what I mean? So that's why you didn't get it. So that part I did like, because he did explain it to us. In which pro wrestling, you need that sometimes.
That's right. And then we got what was basically a very generic promo from Steve Austin, which is not very Steve Austin at all. You know, Mike Tyson will soon learn not to mess with me, and that he wants to fight Tyson anywhere, anytime, and asked him to show up at No Way Out.
Yeah, he said he'll fight him he said, "I'll whoop your ass in my backyard, your backyard, anybody in this arena's backyard," which I thought was pretty funny.
Yes, yeah. But it was just one of those generic Austin promos. It was nothing special about it.
Yeah, I thought that they could have done a lot more by having the New Age Outlaws Chainsaw Charlie Cactus Jack match main event the show. I mean, because you could have went off the air with those two maniacs being told to leave the ring by a bunch of referees because they just dismantled the New Age Outlaws. And that would have been a much better end to the show. This felt like they were like, we have to fill 7 minutes to end the show. Austin, get out there. Say something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it felt.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. But yeah, he challenges him to. He says he's going to knock his gold teeth out and make it a necklace for himself as well. Yeah, so that was pretty much the show. I will say it was better than last week's show, but that's not saying a lot because last week's show wasn't very good.
Absolutely bad. That was all bad. But this had highlights in amongst all the bad and the lackluster.
Yeah, I think last week we both had 2 or 3 good things, and this week I had at least 4 or 5 good things. So this was a better show.
That is a good way of describing this week's show. It was lackluster.
Yeah, it had some okay moments, but it didn't have any really over-the-top ones.
No, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad.
Well, Glenn, let's look at the TV ratings for January 26th, 1998. Dropped down. Last week it's at a 3.96. This week it's at a 3.48. And Nitro jumped up to a 4.69 from a 4.57 the previous week. So a little bit of a dip, but not a crazy dip, which from last week's fucking debacle, I can understand why people would want to tune back in. Let's look, Glenn. What did we miss since we watched Raw instead of Nitro? You ready?
Go on in.
Ultimo Dragon defeated El Dandy. Bill Goldberg added to his undefeated streak by beating Brad Armstrong. Conan with Vincent defeated Jerry Flynn. Buff Bagwell defeated Rick Steiner. Jim Neidhart defeated Wayne Bloom. Holy 1992 tag teams. Psychosis defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. Juventud Guerrero defeated Louis Spicoli. Raven defeated Mortis. Wow, they had a lot of matches on this show. Diamond Dallas Page defended his United States Championship against Wrath. Booker T defeated Saturn. The British Bulldog defeated Steve Mongo McMichael. Ray Traylor defeated Kevin Nash by disqualification. And the main event of this marathon of a show was Lex Luger defeating Scott Hall by DQ. We got to remember at this point, though, I think Nitros were 3 hours at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong on that, though. I think they might have only been 2 hours at this point.
Now you've mentioned that, I want to give a shout out to Dan Griffin. To answer, and he put in our chat, to answer your guys' question on last week's Good, Bad, and Ugly, it was Kevin Sullivan who booked Martel to beat Guerrero.
And he'll be booking until...
So he's still booking for a month yet. He's into 1999 before he leaves.
Yeah, so and we can thank Rob too, because I think Dan got that information from Rob's spreadsheet.
He did, yeah.
So thanks to the UTT guys who are our fact checkers, and we really appreciate you guys doing that because I smoke a lot of weed and I forget a lot of things. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I still would rather watch Raw because that's a lot of matches.
Yes.
None of the times are listed for any of them, except for the Ray Traylor Kevin Nash match, which got 12 minutes.
And whether, I was going to say, whether it's 2 or 3 hours, it falls into the same category as AEW does now. That everything seems to be rushed.
Yeah.
There's no time for storytelling. It's all just...
It
whack them out there, throw them around.
It went from 8 p.m. to 10:56 p.m. So it ran from about 8 to 11. So there's 3 hours at this point.
And people used to moan about Raw being 3 hours.
I remember when they first said Raw was going to be 3 hours, I thought back to 3 hour Nitros that I used to watch, and I said, that's probably not a good idea.
No, it proved you right.
I was gonna say, I think it's better now because I don't find myself being as bored watching Raw, but I rarely watch Raw live, and I usually watch on Hulu, and they cut that down to an hour and 30 minutes. So
that's because it's not only that, there's good stories and decent matches all intermingled on Raw now.
Yeah.
3 hours mainly flies by.
Most of the time, yes, it does.
Most of the time.
Yes, it does. But that is it. That's all for this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We have talked about all the good, the bad, and the ugly that we can talk about for 1 week. But Glenn, What are all the good plugs that you need to give out this week? We don't have any bad or ugly plugs. We've only got good ones.
Yeah. We've already shouted them out, but I'll do it again. The guys that Unbooking the Territory.
They deserve all the
praise. Yeah. Rob and Dan doing the first and last of wrestling and their side projects like Unstacking the Territory, which is the road to Wembley 1981 for Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, and the most watched wrestling match ever at 18 million viewers. Also, I'm booking the Tankatory, the life and times of Tank Abbott, which basically where we ripped off the Sid thing from.
We borrowed,
yeah.
We borrowed it and turned it into something different. A bit.
And being the Elite, the Gate of Gold series, that just finished their series 2 of that, where they did all sorts of nonsense in the clubhouse. The Gate of Gold set was put away. Anyway, and of course,
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside SJP World Media. And check out SJP World Media on YouTube. Check out the Volley. I say it every week. Check out the Volley.
Yeah, their review of the season episode just dropped yesterday.
They were on Saturday. They were on Sunday too. They watched the Chelsea Manchester City game. Wasn't able to join them, but they were on Sunday.
I was talking about the Doctor Who pod.
Oh, sorry.
I know they were on Sunday because I looked in on them, and Dan weren't there, so I went back to watching football. Anyway,
watching
DDT Wrestling with DC and Doc. Give them a listen as well when they're on.
That's right. I said hate watching because I like to hate watch, and when it's Manchester City versus Chelsea, it's a good old fashioned.
That's a good hate watch. Yeah.
I should record myself because I just sit there and just talk shit about it. Just talk shit about it.
You should do it.
Like Holland, you motherfucker! I hope the next time you go to tie your hair up in a ponytail, your fucking ponytail band snaps your neck real fucking hard.
I'd watch you on YouTube watching football.
Yeah, it's just me talking shit, ranting, raving, losing my mind. Maybe I will. Be on the lookout. Maybe I will one day. But yeah, check out all the fine people that Glenn plugged. And of course, make sure you check out the other member of our podcast team, the Mayor of Canton, on the Twitter X. He does a meal with the mayor every Wednesday. So you don't, I always say, he tries food so you don't have to, or he tries food that's delicious so you'll know about it and then you can go and give it a try. Just check it out. It's a meal with the mayor every Wednesday. He is at Mayor of Canton on the Twitter X. And of course, make sure you check out everything going on at SportsWire Radio. That's SportsWire with a Z, radio.org is the website. And give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on all social media platforms. That is Thomas B. Rice, spelled just like it sounds. Check out everything SportsWire Radio's got going on. And, of course, make sure everything that we got going on, which, of course, we have the Lives and Times of Psycho Sid, which Glenn referenced last week. He took down Hunter Hearst Helmsley in a match for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And this week, he will defend the World Wrestling Federation Championship against one Brent the Hitman Hart, which should be very interesting.
That should be a classic.
We'll watch highlights of that match, but not the full thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
We
only have 20. We only have quarter of an hour. We don't know.
And, of course, the other shows we got going on, Walking in Merrifist, Mayor of Superstars, and AWI Pod Worldwide, which right now we're doing AWI Pod Worldwide, which we're working our way towards Uncensored 1995, which was a hilariously bad pay-per-view. I found out last week that a martial arts match featuring Hacksaw Jim Duggan will take place on that card, and that was so unbelievable, it knocked me right out of my chair. Like a martial arts kick, if you will.
Yeah.
But that's it. That is all. That's all I got left. The only thing left to do is for Glenn to say it. Go ahead.
Goodbye.